With solving rational equations, the first thing that we want to do is we want to find the least common denominator, just like we were finding when we were using radical expressions, because in order to solve them, we're going to have to get rid of that denominator, and that's what that allows us to do. And what you can see here in this first example, we have x minus 1 over x plus 2 equals x squared plus 2x minus 3 over x plus 2. We already have a common denominator. So now that we have find the common denominator, we're going to go ahead and multiply both sides by that. So let's see here. I have x minus 1 over x plus 2 equals x squared plus 2x minus 3 over x plus 2, and what I want to do is multiply both sides by the least common denominator, which is going to be x plus 2 over 1, x plus 2. And what are we going to have here now? So as we do our multiplication, we're going to distribute x plus 2 to that term. We're also going to distribute it to that term, which is we multiply one side by x plus 2, we must multiply the other side by x plus 2. So we have x minus 1 over x plus 2, because we just multiplied it, equals over x plus 2 equals x squared plus 2x minus 3 times x plus 2 over x plus 2. And here's what we were talking about when it clears out your denominator. We know that x plus 2 divided by x plus 2 is going to give me a 1, and also on the other side it's going to give me a 1. Therefore, I'm going to have x minus 1 is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 3. And you can combine like terms now and move using inverse operations, everything to one side, and we have x squared plus 1 equals, x squared, then we have 2x minus 1x is going to give me 1x, and then negative 2 plus 1 is going to give me negative 2, and we can factor that. And what I want to do is I'm just going to move that a little bit over here, and we're going to have x squared plus x minus 2 equals 0, or you should be able to factor this at this point in time. X plus 2, x minus 1, and x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0, and then x is negative 2 or x is 1. And those are your two possible solutions to that rational equation. And let's see here, this next one now here, let's see, I guess I should probably fill in the blanks here. We found the least common denominator, then we multiplied both sides by that least common denominator, and that again clears the denominator. And then the third time we simplify and solve. And then you could check solutions, and then finally write your answer. So those are my steps. All in all, seems pretty simple. So looking at this next example, we're going to find the least common denominator. Well, I have x plus 1, I have x plus 4, and I have x plus 4. So my least common denominator is going to be x plus 1 times x plus 4. And I'm going to go ahead and set this up to multiply both sides by that least common denominator. And I have All right, now that I have set up that multiplication, I'm going to go ahead and do the distributive property. And it's going to be, we're going to go ahead and distribute this to both terms. And then on the other side of the equation, we're going to distribute that to that term. Now that we've distributed that multiplication, we can go ahead and cancel out some of our simplify our expression. So x plus 1 over x plus 1 becomes 1, x plus 4 over x plus 4 becomes 1, and x plus 4 over x plus 4 becomes 1. And now I'm going to go ahead and rewrite that up here. And while rewriting it, I'm going to go ahead and perform all my multiplication operations because I'm ready to combine like terms. All right, so now that I've done all my multiplication, I need to go ahead and combine like terms. And I'm going to move everything to the left-hand side by using the inverse operations. And now all right, so I had to go back and make some corrections here, but when we do our cancellations, we're going to end up having 3x is equal to 0 divided by 3, so x is going to be equal to 0, and that is my solution. And let's see here, as we move forward, what we're going to do here is, excuse me, using the graphing calculator, we're going to solve this equation. And one of the easiest ways for us to probably do that right here is going to be to go ahead and do my cross multiplication, and it's going to give me x plus 2 is equal to 5 times 1 minus 2x. Here, again, do some distribution so you can just see it. And what we want to do here is, since I know that this side of the equation is equal to this side of the equation, I'm going to go ahead and put that into the graphing calculator. And it's going to tell me that y1 I want to input into x plus 2, and then y2 I'm going to put in 5 minus 10x. From here, you're probably going to hit graph, and you can see the intersection point, and you can probably go ahead and not necessarily hit trace, but you can go to calculate and then calculate gosh, that's sort of messy. Calculate your intersection point and intersection, and that's going to give you, I believe, that x is going to be equal to 0.27 repeating. And if you don't have a calculator available to you, well, you can do some inverse operations over here and see what happens. So move x, combine x to both sides, and I get 2 is equal to 5 minus 11x. And again, inverse operations, combining like terms, and that is going to give me negative 3 is equal to negative 11x. Divide both sides by the coefficient, which is negative 11, and x is going to be equal to 3 divided by 11, or as I said earlier, 0.27 repeating. And there you go. That's basics on solving rational equations.